Quite possibly the ultimate backpack gun, maybe. Certainly the most inexpensive, or one of the most inexpensive backpack guns. KEL-TEC SUB-2000. This one in OD green and 40 Smith & Wesson. Very small, easy to carry, easy to, just throw in your backpack or wherever, under the seat of your truck, pretty much any place that you need to maybe have something. And as you can see, it folds in half and makes itself a pretty small package. You're probably familiar, you may be more familiar with the SUB-2000 than I am. I've never fired one, so this will be my first time. That's how easy it is to unfold it, have it ready to go. It takes Glock magazines. I think it looks nice in OD green. I think it's interesting in 40 Smith & Wesson. That's a little bit different than just the 9mm version, so I'm kind of looking forward to playing with it today. Let's get the first 100 rounds through it, and I'll tell you what I think as we go along. Got a whole box of Hertz Select 180 grain loaded up into 3 different magazines. Let's get started. So a couple things just starting out. The gun does have a safety. It's a crossbolt style safety. Right now the safety is on. The charging handle is right back here in this sort of buffer tube where the stock is. This charging handle does reciprocate, so you'd want to be mindful of that. Under normal conditions, I can't imagine where you would, how you could get anything in the way, but you do want to know that that does reciprocate. You can also lock it open by bringing it back and up at about 45 degrees. That locks your bolt open. Also makes for a good way to insert your magazines, since that magazine I just put in was not seated. So now, get that magazine nice and seated with an open bolt. That's always a good idea. The sights are very rudimentary. I have, seen other people's work with these guns, and I've heard their opinions and comments about the sights. I would try and make up my own mind, but I got to admit, I am just, having a look through them, at home and out at the range before starting to shoot it. I do already start to have an opinion about the sights, but we'll talk about that as we go. All right, so very first shots. SUB-2000 in 40 Smith & Wesson. Let me just try to hit something. Man, all right, so the first thing right off the bat, and I noticed this before, is that in order to see the front sight through this rear peep sight, you've got to pretty much put the stock right up at your ear, which I'm not real crazy about. Probably should turn the safety off. All right, let's see what we got here. Now, I really can't see the sight. Man, this is worse. And I'm wearing inside the ear protection, so there's no conflict going on there, but I can't see my sight at all. Cannot see the sight at all. And I'll just keep putting them on that steel target even though I can't see my front sight. I'm in the ballpark, I guess. I shouldered it and tried it out. I still have a really hard time. There we go, right there I can see it. But man, you got to get this buffer tube right up on your cheekbone, which is not, in my opinion, That's the opinion that counts around here. Is not the ideal place for it. So lock the bolt open, insert magazine. All right. I mean, it seems like it works nice, but that whole sight picture thing could be a deal breaker for me. Let me see if I can hit something more precise, like the white flapper. Okay. Wow, it just, it really does hit you right in the jaw, though. Right in the cheek. Right in the cheekbone. I don't like that. So I can tell you right now, getting through 100 rounds with this is going to be an unpleasant chore, because this buffer tube, which is probably aluminum or thin steel, is really not a very comfortable thing to have beaten against your cheekbone. I mean, ideally you should be able to put it in the soft part of your cheek, you know, but in order to be able to see through the sights, you have to put this literally right on the bone of your cheek, and it's just it is not pleasant. It is not at all pleasant, and that kind of takes the fun out of shooting it. And fun is mostly why I shoot stuff. So, you know, do the math. Let's see if we can get through this. All right, all the way down to where I can see the sight, and man, I just can't. Maybe if I get closer to it, yeah, kinda. Maybe that's it. You gotta get closer. That doesn't help. See, in order for me to see, no, there's really, I mean, there I can just see it, but even then, you don't have, I'm never at any time able to get a correct sight picture where the whole peep sight is around the front post. I mean, you know, you gotta mount it like a bazooka, I guess. Looks like we've got a failure either to extract or to feed, one of the two. Yeah. Double feed. There you go. Can you see that? And she is dirty. This is a direct blowback operation too, so it will get dirty. All right, come on, let's get through this. I'll just pretend I can see through the sights. All right. Now see, if I hold it like that, which I couldn't see, I mean, I'm in the general direction, and at this distance from that steel target, I can hit it. But I really didn't have a sight picture. But if I hold it like that, it doesn't feel bad to shoot. It feels kind of good. not even halfway through a first 100, and really only 30 rounds in. I'm already kind of finished. I've had all the fun I think I'm going to have, but I'm going to push on for you. It's all about you. This is a 22 rounder, but I've only got 20 in it, so nice even 20 rounds. And again, I'm going to lock the bolt open before I load the mag. Seems to be the best success. And I'm just going to go with it because I really can't see the sights very well at all. So I'm just going to shoot at my target and probably hit it most of the time. I took the camera off the target. I figure there's no reason to keep showing you the target since I'm incapable of really aiming. So I refuse to be held responsible. All right, here we go. Let's get through this. I'm just gonna hold the thing like I feel it ought to be held, which is right here. This feels comfortable. That's exactly how it should be held. And when it's like this, I'll show you what the sight picture looks like when I hold it properly. Another feeding problem, looks like. So I got one stuck. Can we see it? Get some light. Here we go. You can see it a little bit right there. We got one stuck trying to feed, and it is not wanting to go in either direction. It's wedged pretty good in there. So get a tool, pop it out. It's got some pretty good marks on the bullet where it hit at a really bad angle and got wedged in there. I had to pry it out with a screwdriver. So on we go. So, all right, now where was I? Let me see if I can get through this dozen rounds. And again, no sight picture. I'm just sort of making it up as I go along now. Okay. Not locking back, I believe, is normal behavior. So it may not be my preference, but no points taken away for that. All right, so I'm making an executive decision. I'm calling it. This first 100 has become officially a first 50. I got through 50 rounds of this Herter's Select. This is good ammo, by the way. Nothing wrong with that ammo. But 50 rounds of not being able to see where I'm aiming is really not that much fun. I know the front post is a little bit adjustable, but trust me, I can't even get to where these, the top ears are really where they need to be. So I honestly don't think making some adjustment to the front post is going to be helpful, at least not at this point in time. I may try that in the future. A few things about this, aside from, you can't shoot it because you can't see where you're shooting. I think the SUB-2000's got a lot going for it, and everybody and their brother has looked at it in the past at some point or another. It's been around a long time. It's very popular. It's a very inexpensive gun that, by all accounts, is reliable and shoots well, and with the exception of having a magazine that wasn't doing its job, that's been my experience, that it functions fine, shoots good. I shouldered it a lot before I even brought it out to the range. And I was trying to figure out how to properly hold this thing so that I could have a good sight picture, and I have yet to come up with it. And folks, it just shouldn't be that hard. So, you can say what you want, and I know there's going to be a whole lot of KEL-TEC fans making comments down below. and that's fine, you're welcome to do that, but I just have a hard time with it being that fundamentally difficult to shoot. You know, they should do something with these sights. I don't know if anybody makes an aftermarket, so I mean, this rear sight, there's literally nothing you can do with it, you know. Yes, I could put a red dot on here, and I would probably have to elevate it to get it out of the way, you know, of this front sight. But then you lose the ability to fold the gun, which is a huge part of having the gun. You know, you want to be able to do that and throw it back in your backpack. So, you know, if you put an optic on the top, then you've either got to take it off every time, you know, or you can't fold it, or, you know, I know they do make devices where you can move the optic out of the way, but then you're changing the width, you're changing the thickness of the package too. So there's no way to put an optic on the gun without significantly altering its physical characteristics. So I didn't want to have to do that, but I may have to. I may have to come out and do a take two with some sort of a red dot on here, just so I can shoot it, just so I can see what I'm aiming at and try and hit something. Because right now, I put 50 rounds on a steel target, and I believe I hit the target with all 50, but I'm all over it. I'm all over that target. So, and it's only like 12 yards away, so it's not very far. I love the idea. I still am optimistic that I can make something out of this, but it's a great backpack gun. I'm telling you, man, this is, you know, camping, hiking, bug out, you know, I said truck gun, you know, whatever. Just sort of a, you know, a gun to be able to throw in the backpack and run out the door. This would be a nice one. And in 40 Smith & Wesson, number one, you're going to probably find 40 Smith & Wesson a little bit easier these days than 9mm, but in 40 Smith & Wesson, it also is packing a little bit more of a punch. So it might be a better defense weapon. I don't know. There you go. I'll throw some specifications up here for those of you who like to see the specs on the gun, and hopefully we'll look at it again soon, but I'm done for today. We're doing a first 50, and that's it. Ammo is way too expensive for me to just be slinging it down range when I can't even see what I'm aiming at. So, okay, a small chance at redemption here for the SUB-2000. I ran home fast as I could, and I got a little optic and put it on. This is, anybody remember SIG-TAC before the Romeos? So this is an old SIG-TAC optic. I don't even remember when I got it, but and I'm not even sure I've ever mounted it on anything. So anyway, I got this SIG-TAC and I threw it on here, and it's just about the right height to give me something at which to look. So I'm sure it's not zeroed in, but it should be ballpark, you know, for a dozen yards away that I'm trying to shoot. So it should be good enough to at least allow me to shoot the gun and have something to look at, something to aim for. Because I got to tell you, this is actually the day following the first day, so this is day 2. Day 1, I got home, and right up in here, in my shoulder, was really a lot of red marks from shooting this thing. So, you know, I had more bruising than I do if I shoot, you know, twice as many rounds of 12 gauge. So this hard plastic stock is not exactly your best friend. But really what's bad is when you got to get it way up here like this, all you got is that last inch contacting your shoulder, man. It will eat you alive. So there's a lot of reasons not to like the sight picture, or the lack thereof. But by now I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk about that. So let's see if with this SIG-TAC optic on here, I can at least shoot some a little bit with a proper hold. See if I get a nice aggressive stance, get it down in my shoulder where I want it, and get my cheek where I want it. Now I've got a dot to aim at. And it's actually pretty well on. All right, now that was what I expected from the SUB-2000. And it's actually pretty well on. All right, now, well, maybe I can make it a first 100 after all. So I'm already up to 60. Let's go for 75. I got 15 rounds in this magazine. Get us 3/4 of the way there. So I am by no means the first person to look at the SUB-2000, even in 40. Nor will I be the last. But let me give you my thoughts as I play with it. It does specify on the side of the receiver G17/22, meaning the full-size Glock magazine, either in 9mm or 40. So I'm going to extrapolate, not having seen one, but I'm going to extrapolate out that you would get one that probably says G19/23 as well, in which case you could use the shorter. Something to be said both ways. I like the full grip that this gives you, and the shorter one probably would feel a little bit awkward. But if this really is going to be your backpack gun, it's going to be like your survival gun, your camping gun, and you carry a Glock 23, then you're going to want it to fit those magazines. So I could argue that one either way. As it is, I kind of don't care. All right, so just one thing to know there. All right, let me go ahead and shoot a little bit. Like I said, got the bolt locked open so I can load that magazine. Charging it is easy. I like that. All right, let's see if I can do a little damage to that target downrange. I was hitting the flapper consistently with that first mag. Try these. Two for one. That's pretty good. And then that was it, I believe. Yes, sir. So now this is behaving like the KEL-TEC SUB-2000 that I wanted. That's nice. It's quite peppy. I mean, it is definitely some stout recoil with the 40 because it is strictly blowback. So you've got that buffer slamming into your shoulder and nothing between you and it but this really hard piece of plastic. You know, the way this thing is made, some industrious aftermarket company should make something you could slip over that, a rubber pad that you could slip over that. It really wouldn't add to the size of it, and it could easily be made so that it doesn't interfere with the function. And boy, that would be a big plus. All you inventors out there, just, you know, give me a free one when you do it. That's all I ask. Now I can enjoy this gun, and that makes me happy. I wonder why small airplanes aren't required to have mufflers. Just one of the things I wonder about sometimes. Of course, the downside to having this optic on here is that I've got to take it off before I can fold the gun up and put it back in the backpack. There is at least one or two options available for being able to mount an optic and move it out of the way when you fold this up. I'm going to look into that. I may look for something like that. This is kind of a nice little home for this SIG-TAC optic. I like this. It's working fine. And it seems to be zeroed in right out of the box, so I can't complain about that. All right, let's burn up the rest of this ammo, make it a true full 100, and I'll tell you what I think as we go. All right, so like I said, recoil is stout. Oh, safety. But as you know, with a proper hold now, getting my cheek where I want and putting it in my shoulder the way I want. No, didn't feed. Alrighty. Yeah. I know it's going to be a little out of focus there, but did not feed properly. I try to make sure that I'm not inducing any problems. You know, when I charge it, I want to just slam that bolt and let it go on its own power, and that time it fed. All right, here we go. Yeah, so now that I can get it in the shoulder where I want it and get my cheek on it, get a good cheek weld where I want it, it's not so bad at all. And with this optic on, I can also keep both eyes open. Yesterday you could have easily talked me into throwing this into the nearest dumpster. Today, I'm digging it.